Once again, this is your host Frank, and we have Leonard. And today, for our special Ardbeg lineup, all the way from Scotland, we have special guest
Hamish Torrie.
and our local special guest, we have Johnson.
Johnson Lee.
I'm Raj. And all the way on the other end, we have.
I'm Chewy.
So for this particular lineup for Ardbeg, we're going to start off with the Ardbeg 10, which is, I think, a good primer for the next three whiskeys after that.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah, so, just why don't we just give a little bit of history of Ardbeg, small history.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, absolutely. Delighted to. Well, it's actually 20 years ago this year that Glenmorangie PLC, as we were then, we bought Ardbeg Distillery. And Ardbeg, if you remember, had been closed down for many years. It was closed for most of the 1980s, opened again in 1990, and then opened and closed again with 2 or 3 months a year. And finally closed for good, it seems, in 96. And that's when we stepped in and bought the distillery, which we're extremely proud of.
yeah.
And so, if you like, the last 20 years has been about building up Ardbeg to be the magnificent whiskey that we all know it can be and is. And so it's been a very exciting ride. We introduced once a whiskey called Roller Coaster. So there have been a few ups and downs along the way.
Right.
But it's been great fun and a very rewarding piece of work. And it's, many of us have been involved in it. And we're absolutely delighted, not only with the distillery today, but also with the support we get from our fans around the world. And it's something which we're, as I say, immensely proud of.
Wow. Great. Well, let's not waste time. Let's get our noses in this particular gin.
Absolutely. Well, if I could just carry on the history lesson for a little bit.
Yeah.
The 10-year-old that we finally produced for ourselves came about in 2008.
Okay.
And if you think about it, in '97 when we bought the distillery, we didn't have any younger, mature whiskey. We had to wait until 2000 to introduce a 10-year-old, which was based on stock we purchased from the former owner. And then our own 10-year-old didn't come online until 2008. So from 2008, we can definitely say that this is our 10-year-old.
This is your version of Ardbeg's 10-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. And that moment in 2008 was a great time because that meant we could actually start putting Ardbeg out further to the world than we had been able to previously, because we were relying on stock that we bought at the time of purchase. So from 2008 onward, we've been gradually expanding Ardbeg's availability around the world. So it's been delighted to be down here in Manila talking to you about our favourite dram. Alongside Glenmorangie.
Of course. But I think for a lot of people out there, they consider Ardbeg probably one of the better distillers out there. I know our friend, we kind of bring him up every so often. What's his name? Jim Murray. Jim Murray.
Oh, yeah, Jim.
Our friend. We love Jim. Hi, Jim. I know you remember us. I know you remember Leonard over there. We'll talk about that later, Jim.
And Jim, hello. You know me as well as I know myself. Yeah. So yes, no, and it's. I mean, as part of the journey, actually, it was people like Jim who, when the distillery was closed in the late 80s, 90s, he was writing lots and lots of articles saying, "Somebody please rescue this distillery." So he was actually doing a huge amount of evangelism back in the early days before we arrived,
Right.
To say, "Come on, somebody, rescue this distillery. It's going down. It's going to go down if we don't do something." And then when the opportunity arose, of course, we took up the opportunity and the challenge, and we're very proud of what we've done. And it just proves to you, it's taken us 20 years, and we still see it as a work in progress. Because whiskey, you have to, as you know, it takes a long time, both not in maturation but in investment and whatever.
I mean, 10 years just to let it mature and wait is a lot of time of just something just sitting there.
Absolutely. And in the early 2000s, we had great fun introducing rare, limited editions from the old stock, but also inventive new whiskies. Like we started at very young Ardbeg, was still young. Created what's called the PT path to maturity, where we aged the same Ardbeg from 98 right through to 2008. And that timed with the arrival of our new 10 years old was fantastic. The other point I'd like to say is that we actually know and love the style of Ardbeg, and we know that our fans do. So what we've done as guardians, if we like, of the distillery, is to actually try and deliver to everybody the best Ardbeg we can. And it goes back to several things. One is the distillation and obviously the best raw materials, but it's holding that idea that Ardbeg is the peatiest, the smokiest of all the island whiskies, but also getting a perfect balance of what I would call a fruity floral complexity. And we do that because on the still there's a purifier, right? And the purifier refluxes the spirit. And that's part of the secret that we think gives Ardbeg its balance. And even if somebody like Jim was listening, he would say balance is key. You've got to get the balance of the peatiness and the smokiness right. If you like, the purifier tries to tame Ardbeg, right?
Yeah.
And also you can tame Ardbeg by maturation, beautiful casks. But fundamentally, the personality and the distinctiveness of Ardbeg comes from the spirit still and the smokiness, yes, but it's the spirit still and that smokiness that keeps it balance. And our peating level is and always will remain between 55 and 65 parts per million phenol. So the other distilleries on Isla are less than that. But what we try to say is it's not just about peat and smoke, you've got to get that balance. And it's the purifier and the still that gives it the balance. And if you look at Ardbeg 10 years old, this has matured for 10 years in a balance of first fill and second fill American oak ex-bourbon barrels. And the first fill gives you, alongside the peat and smoke, the first fill gives you lovely creamy vanilla flavors. But the second time you use the cask gives you spiciness. And the spiciness and the creamy vanilla goes together with smoke to create a lovely sort of dram put together. And if you look at the colour, very light gold.
Champagne.
There's no colouring in Ardbeg whatsoever. It's as it comes from the casks. If you nose, yes, you're going to get smoke and smokiness. You also get this lovely sort of seaweed brininess, which starts to come through. But also you're getting what you might call citrus, limes, also a bit of pear actually.
Stone fruit pear.
Pears, and also perhaps a little bit of ripe banana. So there you have it. It's a whiskey which is actually beguiling in the sense that, oh my goodness, it's Ardbeg, it's going to be a big peachy smoky monster, but actually it's sweetly waxy when you taste it. So let's have a little taste.
Yes, please.
I promise you I go straight back to Isla, straight back to the pier, straight back to standing in front of the distillery. Anywhere you go in the world and drink Ardbeg, for me, who goes to the distillery a lot, you're transported straight back to that lovely location. The peaty smokiness is there, but it's the peat is sort of under control.
Yes,
it's being controlled by the vanilla. It's being controlled by the other flavors and that lovely fruity floral complexity. And there's another element in Ardbeg which you should also perhaps think about, which is this sort of smoky bacon flavor. Smoky bacon, and at the end you're going to get lovely sort of espresso coffee and a little bit of licorice. A little bit of licorice at the end, a good taste.
So this is all peated to about 55 to 60 ppm.
All Ardbeg is done at that level.
Okay.
Okay, we've done in the past a few fun ones, like I was talking earlier about Blasda.
Yeah, that was a new one.
Where Blasda, where we took the peat out deliberately for a bit of fun, much to the fury of the Ardbeg committee. But what we were trying to show in that particular one was that actually there's a lovely creaminess and toffiness. Toffee is another sort of taste note in Ardbeg, and Blasda was a great example of what, if you strip. If you make Ardbeg naked, what is underneath?
Yeah.
And you know, when you're drinking Ardbeg 10 years old, it's a perfect example of a beautiful Islay whiskey. So I'm obviously a huge aficionado of Ardbeg. Have been for all my life in the distillery.
Well, you know,
and I think it's just perfect. It just typifies Ardbeg, and it typifies just balance.
Yeah.
Perfect balance.
I think for people for Islas, you know, this is so well balanced, even though it has such high phenols. You know, but because it's well balanced, I think it's a great intro to Islas for the non-Isla drinker.
Yeah, but the peachiness over time, we start of course with 55 to 65 parts per million. Over time, you lose that in the maturation. You lose that in the you know the purifier and the still will do that as well. But the thing is, you start with the best. You get the best and the biggest blocks of flavour you can, and then you play tunes on it as it goes through. There's a lovely soapiness, waxiness in Ardbeg too. Sort of waxiness on the palate, and that we think comes from the, you know, we've got Oregon pine washbacks, and that's where we think we get some of the soapiness and the waxiness from during the fermentation period.
Right.
So there's soapiness and waxiness in that as well, and it just shows you that each part of the distillation process is absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
So everything has to work in tandem, and it makes for a lovely dram. But that's the base of our distillery, and I know we're going to taste other elements of the Ardbeg range. But you'll see that, and this is true for all whiskey, but it's particularly true for us, is that about 60% of the flavour of any Scotch comes from the barrel.
Yes.
And we, Bill, if you see Bill Lumpton, our whiskey creator, he would say the wood makes the whiskey. So about 60% of the flavour of any whiskey comes from the type of wood. So it follows that you've got to have brilliant, excellent wood, casks, etc. And we try and buy the best casks we can, and make sure that they're good. So if you get brilliant spirit, brilliant wood, you get great whiskey. If one of those is out of kilter, then something went wrong.
I think the Philippines, it's great value for money for a good 10-year-old, well-balanced whiskey.
Yeah.
I think it's about 50 USD here, about 2.5, right? Something like that,
Yeah.
more or less, give or take,
Yeah.
depending
Yeah.
who or where or whatever. So I think, you know, it's great value for money. I mean, I'll just say right now, I think it's a thumbs up. I mean, I don't think you could go wrong.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Well, have you got sea spray, smoke, tar, peat, pears, bananas, licorice, coffee? I mean, crikey.
you got it all.
Well, we've got it all, but the key point is that no one element dominates the other.
No, it doesn't.
The balance is
The balance has just got to be right, and the balance. I'm always amazed that what happens in Ardbeg.
Well,
I'm also almost amazed that actually, when you put this very smoky malt through the system, that the peat lasts all the way through. I mean, it gets heated, it gets beaten around, and when it comes out of the still, it's still there, which is magic.
And the peat smoke doesn't taste fake.
No.
You know, I'm not going to name different labels, but some actually, when you taste it, it almost tastes like the smoke has been added. You know, it tastes like like liquid smoke. Which isn't, to me, that's not a pleasant experience.
No, it's good. And if you think about it, peat is the dominant texture of the soil of Islay.
Yes.
Right. So you know how wine people talk about terroir. Well, we've got a terroir here too. And the other key point is that some of the saltiness in the sea spray, yes, sure, it may come from the climatic conditions because we're on the Atlantic coast and there's wind and rain and sea going everywhere. But actually, it's the saltiness probably comes mostly from the peat.
Right.
So the saltiness in Ardbeg is also peat derived.
Right. Makes sense. Guys, do you have any questions for on this particular whiskey? Because obviously we have 3 more to go.
basically, I just want to re-emphasize something. Maybe most of you guys are not familiar with it.
Okay.
Hamish told us earlier that one thing that the reason I like Ardbeg is I had the pleasure to visit last month, Ardbeg Distillery, and I was so pleased when I saw the fermentation tank. They actually use wooden fermentation tank up to this day. Unlike many distilleries in Scotland, they switch from wooden fermentation tank to stainless steel. I think that's a big plus for me when I see it, because it costs more to produce whiskey than producing. If you're using wooden fermentation tank, that's one of the things that I want to re-emphasize. And one more thing that the reason I love Ardbeg so much is because a lot of peated whiskey, like you said, wood is very important to the character of the whiskey. You said 60% defines the character of the whiskey because of the wood selection. One thing that the reason I like Ardbeg very much is even though we have good whiskey wood management, you can still taste the barley notes.
Yes, perfect. Well done, Johnson. You're absolutely on the money.
That's basically the reason I like Ardbeg is because you can taste the malt in the whiskey.
I would define that, or I describe it exactly what you're saying, as sort of biscuity cereal character. You know,
It's sweet, and the sweetness comes from the
sweet
malt.
malt.
And that's what whiskey should be made from.
Scotch whiskey.
All whiskey.
You think all whiskey?
American whiskey.
The malt is crucial. Well said.
Yeah. Anything else, guys, before we
I have
were
a question. It
talking
sounds like about the 10, but it is tied in with the 4 because the 10 is your numbered core range.
Yeah.
Now that you guys started in '98, now that it's been close to 20 years, do you plan on expanding on that, like adding a 15 or something older or more mature? Because
Getting an aged range together. It's something we're always looking at, and time will tell. I think an aged Ardbeg, older than 10 is a strong bet in the future. Exactly when we'll do it is up to God. I promise you, balancing the very strong growth of Ardbeg with time in terms of maturation, it's always a sort of, it's like a Rubik's Cube of calculation you're doing all the time. And it's not, right, we're going to do a 15-year-old or an 18-year-old or whatever. It's right, what is the best for Ardbeg, and B, when can we do it, and C, how much can we produce? Because if we produce an older age Ardbeg, demand will be high, we hope, and then supply will be out of kilter, and then all our fans will be saying, "Oh, you didn't make enough." Well, we couldn't. So you're managing rarity all the time. We're not just some great big factory.
No.
I mean, Johnson, you've been there. There are 2 stills.
that's it.
Well, very limited. Okay, no, good, nice big stills. But I mean, we've got a capacity of 1.4 million liters of alcohol.
When you actually look at the setup, there's no room for expansion.
Unless we add
That changes everything else.
the entire
Changes the
character.
flavors.
Well, you could, but the key point is we have to play with what we've got.
Of course, yeah.
Well, it was quite fun actually. I remember back in 2001, we replaced the spirit still, which had been there for 50 years.
50 years.
Right? And the copper becomes so thin, we had to change it. And that was a monumental, making a new still, etc., and then replacing, etc. That was a celebrity moment. And there's a huge amount of right. We've got to get absolutely dead right, because the shape and size of the still is really important to all know. And now the still sits proudly in the garden.
Nice.
You can see it, that's it, it's there.
That's great.
It's a sort of monumental sculpture.
This is it. Well, anyways, let's. We have 3 more whiskeys, guys. And I know we have limited time, so let's. Everyone, what's your thumbs on this?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, all the way around, man.
I'm allowed to vote too.
Yes, you are. You are. Excellent. Well, guys, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for our other 3 whiskeys. Thank you.